Just kidding. Anyway, nice to see you. Welcome to Draw With Me. I'm Danny Gregory. We get together every Thursday and we have technical problems and then we start to draw. So we will be doing that in a second. JJ?
Hi.
Any technical problems in your end?
Yeah, always.
I can't see you. Hold on a second. Oh, brother. Here we go. There you are.
Hello.
Oh, brother. It's one of them.
Boy. Oh, boy. And I seem a bit low.
Don't be low.
I'm trying to.
When they go low, we adjust our chairs. So good. Well, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see 1776 appearing and strutting through the screen.
Yeah, that was fun, guys.
A lot of really nice stuff. Yeah, we have lots of people here. We have Fury Gray, who became a member just now. If you haven't become a member, what are you waiting for? Just sign up, become a member of this channel, and if you do, you can join us on Wednesday for Draw With Me Again and for various other things that we have planned. Just click the join button and you can do it. Winter Powell, hello, nice to see you. Zen Jen.
Back.
Now,
I saw somebody also a first timer.
yes, Rin L.
Yeah, welcome.
First time. Cynthia asked if any of her or our Sketchbook School friends are going to be in Edmonds, Washington for Sketchfest. I am. I will be there. I'm going to be hanging around. I'm not an official member of it, but I'm just going to be skulking around the streets.
You're going to be enjoying the offerings.
It will be fun.
Yeah.
Rita is here from the Black Forest.
Boy, that sounds nice right now. Phoenix is so hot.
Yes,
Oof.
it's very nice. So, yeah, thanks all for being here today. And Grace is here from Perrysburg. Yesterday, we drew Grace's house.
That's what a perk of being a member.
It's true. we all drew her house, so that was very
If you want to share your personal information online, we'd be glad to.
It's just among the members. You don't have to.
Grace.
But Grace was brave and did.
And you get to see something, a lot of people doing a different take on your personal house.
Yes, good. Jen asked if anybody else is buffering. I think we're not. I think our signal is pretty strong, at least from this end.
Do a refresh.
I can't believe we managed to dive perfectly back into the same slot.
Oh my gosh, Holly Rose is here.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So today we are going to celebrate philately.
Not flatulence.
Have you ever been a philatelist?
I no.
I was a youthful philatelist.
I mean, only in relationship to you, because when we were moving and we went through those books of stamps, I think I'm responsible for retaining these.
Yeah, I decided to get rid of my stamp collection, but we had a big collection that we inherited from a distant relative who gave us a bunch of stamps that had never been used. U.S. stamps, never been used. So essentially money. So I went to...
1 cent stamps.
I went to a stamp dealer and I said, what's the value of these? And they said the value of these stamps is printed on the stamp itself. In other words, you have a 20-cent stamp, it's worth 20 cents. There's no... American stamps don't have the same kind of... I don't know, maybe old stamps and weird stamps, but there were just so many American stamps from the 80s and 90s, which is when the stamp collection was accumulated, that I acquired. But the good thing is I have a huge bag here, and again, they're not kept like valuable stamps. Our valuable stamps are often, in albums and in sleeves. These are literally the stamps you can use to send letters. And we were talking yesterday about...
so cute.
We were talking yesterday about the fact that the post office here in the United States has just raised the price of a stamp. What is it now?
It's going up to 78 cents.
78 cents.
For
it's a
one
lot.
U.S.
It's a lot, yeah.
Letter.
And I think just in general, obviously people write a lot fewer letters than they used to.
Right.
But yeah. So we have all these stamps. And I was going through them and I was like, these are so cool and they're so interesting. There's so many different ones. So let me just show you just a few that every one of them is just a beautiful little piece of art, Like this is one about the Alaskan highway opening in 1942. There's one of Joe Louis. Here are some dinosaurs. These are great. A lot of these reminded me of Draw With Me, actually, because like here's movie posters, and here's historic preservation, and look, lighthouses, cats. I mean, how many of these have we done? And of course, this is a stamp celebrating certified public accountants.
We did that.
But it is and it has a dip pen in it. Here, of course, is preventing drug abuse. I'm sure this is a very effective stamp because drug abuse has basically been wiped out thanks to this 8-cent stamp. Giving blood saves lives. You see also this is a 6-cent stamp. That's an 8-cent stamp. This, I think, was a really historic. I don't know if you remember when this came out. The Elvis stamp. It was huge. And this is really like the first time that they sort of went from celebrating like weird things like the settling of Oklahoma to doing things that were kind of part of popular culture. And these were also just really nice pieces of art. Here is a sort of a meta stamp, which is about writing letters. So here's the celebration of the anniversary of the Universal Postal Union, 100 years old, but it's all just stamps about people writing letters. Very old paintings of people writing letters. Not a lot of modern paintings of people writing letters. And here's one that I remember from when I was a kid, the Apollo Soyuz hookup, 1975, 50 years ago, when the Soyuz, the Russian, Soviet space vehicle connected to an American one, and they kind of shook hands, and I'm not sure what the point of it was, but it was nice, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, so when you look back at stamps, you see what was important to people at that time, what were they celebrating. So it is an interesting historical thing, but also just all the little pieces of art that you could buy for like a few cents, and you could, just see all the different styles.
I know, we could spend the whole hour just going through that bag of stamps, and it would be so fun.
So what I did is I picked out 10 stamps that I thought would be interesting to draw, and they're all on very different topics. And so we're just going to draw stamps. Think about how you want to do it. I mean, 10 stamps, we don't have to do 10. In fact,
I mean, stamps have cool little rickety borders, which would be kind of fun.
They have borders, they have lettering numbers. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably draw fairly large just in order to get all those details in. And that also means I'm probably not going to do that many. I mean, I think if we're going to get into it, and it is World Watercolor Month, so I think that has to come into it as well. All right?
All right.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
So, yes. So we have a lot to do.
All right.
So let's get on with it. Get on with it.
Giddy
So
up.
I've scanned some, and we'll just see. Now this is a classic, the love stamp. Do you remember the stamp? The love stamp? Yeah. So love stamp, I think they've issued at different points, but this is the 8-cent version, and I think it's based on, is it Robert Indiana, I want to say, who did this original piece? I'm just trying to think of how I want to do this. I mean, maybe I could do them just in pen and ink. Or should I do them in watercolor? There's just a fair amount to do.
Yeah. So are you going to try to put little cool borders?
Yeah, because that's what tells you it's a stamp.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I think
if you don't have the what is it called? That kind of brickery, rick-rack, something like that. So yeah, I've drawn stamps before, and honestly,
Have you done Draw With Me? I don't feel we have.
No, I haven't. I just used to draw them. I used to make up stamps. I made up a stamp celebrating the 20th anniversary of my taxidermy collection.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, so I drew like the highlights of my taxidermy collection, and I did some stamps about New York. So I don't know. I'm just gonna,
Yeah, Susie says perforations.
Perforations, yeah.
I see so many friends here today. It's so good we overcame a technical difficulty, because otherwise I wouldn't have seen everybody. So many faces that popped up that I've been missing.
That's so nice.
I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Name some names if you want to.
Jim Wright just popped up.
Jim, I haven't seen Jim in ages.
Susie Shapiro, haven't seen her in a while. Holly Rose, which I already mentioned. Haven't seen her in ages. Mitzi Bennick is here, which is fun.
Very nice. So this piece of art is sort of interesting because a lot of it is about negative space. You know, the negative space between these letters. I'm kind of screwing up my proportions already, but I guess what I had thought when I first thought about doing this was I was going to do them, try and make them more, I don't know, impressionistic. In other words, loose. But now I'm finding I'm trying to be tight. So that's just the way I guess I feel today. Probably because of that technical snafu.
Yeah, your heart's still racing a little bit, huh?
Well, yeah, it just, you know.
It's always a bummer when
It's a bummer.
we're all set and ready to go, and then the internet is not our friend.
Yeah. But we have other friends.
Some of our friends are fickle like the internet.
There you go.
So here in Phoenix, where it is as hot as the surface of the sun, a lot of people are away on vacation, but not us.
Well, we had vacation.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people do exit. I feel like 4th of July things were a little, like it wasn't much traffic. Easy to get a restaurant reservation.
Yeah, so don't complain.
No, I'm not complaining. I will tell you, after we did Draw With Me 1776 last week, we did a bit, like bits and bobs, and then we were like, let's take the rest of the day off. And we went out and had oysters and drank beers from a very good craft brewery here, and then we played Wizard, the card game Wizard.
And then we took a nap.
And then we took naps. It was nice.
From having afternoon beer.
Afternoon beer, nothing will send you straight to sleepy time quite like an afternoon beer will.
I mean, I had one beer, but I was like, that's it, I'm done.
That's a nice feeling, to nap in the middle of the day.
All right, this is a good warm-up, I think, because it is reasonably fast.
I never noticed that V is a little arrow. Is it like that on the sculpture?
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. It's like the FedEx logo. It's a little arrow in the middle of it. Did you ever notice that?
No, I actually haven't.
Right, mine's a kind of a bleeding love.
Might have used a marker, a watercolor marker. Does that still count for World Watercolor Month?
Yeah, World Watercolor Marker Month.
Could have, woulda, shoulda. I'm gonna leave it at that.
It's fine, I fixed it.
No big shakes. I think it's cute.
Yeah, that's cute. All right. I'm going to move on. I like this art is a little mechanical, and I like making it a little looser. So
Giving it a little wonkiness.
that's my excuse, at least. So, all right, let's have a look at what we got next. We won't move at this speed all the time, so don't freak out. And take a screen grab, please do if you want to. But we're moving on to this. So this is part of that series that I showed before of Elvis. And I thought about doing Elvis, but I thought this might be easier, doing Buddy Holly. Oops, I'm doing them backwards. Oh well.
How can you do it backwards exactly?
Well, I guess I was thinking that things were going out instead of going in.
Yeah, so these are all stamps that you have to lick.
Yeah, these are still lickery.
Yeah, there's no
before people got too lazy to
self-sticking
lick.
in this.
I mean, I think licking a stamp is part of it.
Yeah.
And particularly if you ever have to do a mass mailing, which we've had to do a few times, and you end up like, well, ideally you get a sponge, but a lot of times you end up just like licking and licking until your tongue is dry.
The worst though is licking many envelopes because you can
Oh, yeah,
You don't
slice
even want
it.
to say these words out loud because but you can get a paper cut on your tongue.
Paper cut.
Ugh. Like, why are paper cuts so awful? My microphone just fell off. That's how much I hate thinking about a paper cut on my
The
tongue.
thing about perforations also is, like, have they eliminated perforations with these stamps that are self-licking or pre-glued? Do they still have perforations on them? Not always, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so that's a shame. It's like, then it's not a stamp, it's a sticker, which is a whole other ball of wax.
No, I'm okay with this innovation.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
You don't like perforations?
I mean, I like it, but I'm not mourning its loss.
You kids. Back in my day, you had to lick a stamp if you wanted to send a letter. It took some work. Stamp, it is a pretty miraculous thing if you think about it. You know, even at 79 cents, it's still like it's a pretty good deal.
I don't know. See, when I saw that, I think it's 78 cents. I think they're currently 73, so that's already sticker shock. And then when I saw that it was going up to 78, I think this Sunday, I felt like, oof, that could change my mind about sending somebody a birthday card. Like, are you worth $1?
You're so
plus
cheap.
the price of a card.
I don't know.
Okay, Thistle just did a little R&D. She said they still have perforations.
All right, that's good. Yeah, I think they have to, because otherwise...
Kate said, do they have uneven edges that look like perforations?
Right.
I guess that's how you make sure they don't stick to one another, right?
I think it's just, maybe it's just a vestige of the past. Buddy
Someone in the
Holly.
chat didn't know who Buddy Holly is.
Well, Buddy Holly, watch the movie. It's a great movie. Gary Busey. Was it Gary Busey?
I don't think so.
I think it was.
Who played Buddy Holly? It is Gary Busey.
See. So the thing about postage stamps is you have to be dead to be on one.
That's not true.
It is true.
Is it?
Yep.
No living people.
Nope. Well, because you know who would be on every stamp if that wasn't the case.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, you have to be dead.
I guess I never thought that through.
I mean, I think if you're a duck, you don't have to be dead. But if you're a human, you do.
A character. I have these are current stamps. They are so beautiful. Ansel Adams. Oh my gosh.
Those are really
They're
beautiful.
so pretty and it makes me not want to use them, but that's how you end up with bags of stamps, like future me, you know, with bags of stamps.
I also like that the illustration styles and the graphic design are all kind of part of their time. You know what I mean? They're like not. They're you know this. I guess it's pretty obvious that they're of their time, but that's part of what I like about it. It's like a retrospective. Like these are very kind of late '80s or early '90s sort of kind of style of illustration.
Oh, Kate said there was a stamp recently that was a raven with gold metallic. I didn't see that. That sounds nice. I had some Peanuts Charles Schultz stamps that I loved. They were very cute.
Because it used to just be that the Christmas ones were the kind of funky ones, but now basically
No.
they all are. Like they're no longer about.
Well, they're
sort of-
commemorative stamps, right? Like, I guess that's why they're not living people. I just got together.
But they're also not, I don't know, they don't have the kind of, when you look at the old ones, they were often about sort of obscure historical events. And now they're just kind of, they just try to make them popular. They're products now.
I don't think that's true, actually. No. I think there's a bigger variety maybe than ever.
Which is ironic, because
Nobody
uses them
Nobody sends
anymore.
letters.
I used to work on the Postal Service advertising.
Was it a fun client?
It was okay.
I would think there would be a bit of difficulty getting concepts approved.
Not really. Wasn't that bad. There were like financial things about it, like they had, because it's I don't know. It was okay.
Were there any perks?
No, because it was a government account, so you couldn't get graft. But I do remember one incident. Okay, I'm moving on to the next one. I'm not terribly happy with that, Buddy Holly, but so speaking of the Postal Service, here's a stamp about the Postal Service. There's a lot of stamps about stamps and stamps about mailmen and things like that. But so one of the things when I worked on the Postal Service was I went on tours of like postal facilities, which sounds really kind of boring, but it was actually sort of interesting. Like they have all kinds of security things. You know, they have, like at the top of the big sorting facility, which is a giant warehouse, they have like a tunnel attached to the ceiling, and the Postal Service has its own police department, and the Postal Police would sit up in this tunnel, and we got to walk through the tunnel, and you could look through little windows, and you could see everybody dealing with the mail down below, because they wanted to make sure that no postal workers were stealing stuff out of the envelopes, like pulling checks out or something. Yeah, and
I mean, mail theft must be a thing.
you'd be surprised, because what they do is they build these cases against thieves that are amazing. So they will have like hundreds of photos of a person doing bad things, and they'll basically then just go to their house and show them all the stuff, and the people always just say, "You're right, I'm guilty," because they just are able to pull up huge amounts of evidence.
Right.
And so I think
Undeniable.
Yeah, so people kind of know that if you do something bad, you're going to get busted, and so I think it's not nearly as bad. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Letters, using the Postal Service as an excuse for something not arriving, it doesn't fly, as it were, because they deliver.
Yeah, everything except for your green card.
That's true. But that wasn't, I don't think that was their fault.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I guess it was. We never really knew for sure.
We knew.
You knew.
No, it was our postal carrier who told us.
Yeah. Somebody stole my... Back in the days when I had a green card, which fortunately I don't have anymore, because now I'm an American. But yeah. Somebody nicked it out of the post box.
No,
Out of the sorting facility.
yeah, the envelope had tracking on it because
Right.
obviously contained something valuable, and it was scanned in as received at the post office, and then less than 1 minute later scanned out as delivered.
Right. Yeah.
And then it was like, well, we delivered it with no recourse.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. It was like 2 years of our lives, a
Yeah.
living nightmare with immigration lawyers, and
It got solved.
yeah, it was not nice. It was not a fun time.
Well, actually, I got my green card after I became a citizen.
It was like, we're still
took so-
investigating your case.
took so long.
5 years later.
Yeah.
It was not an efficient process.
Anyway, nobody cares about that.
Nobody
But
cares.
my point was that
The post office is super reliable.
it is
No fraud.
other than that, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do remember one thing was they showed us this machine that would take a letter, and it would scan all four corners of the letter to see that there was a stamp on it. And then it would flip it over and it would scan all four corners. So if you tried to mail a letter without a stamp on it, the machine would know. And so they were showing us they were very impressed, by this technology that they had and how cool it was. And I said, where's the machine that figures out the denomination of the stamp? Because, it has a stamp.
Yeah,
Because it have the right
we
stamp.
could put like one of those 1 cent stamps on there, right?
And they were like, all right, let's move on. So I was like, aha. There, my life of crime can begin. I can start sending letters for 1 penny. But then they showed us what the postal police does, and I changed my mind about that part. Well, I've been talking this whole time, but I just painted these 2 planes. Were quite nice. So it's kind of like a modern plane, almost looks like a 747. Or in my case, it looks like a fighter plane, but and then an original plane, 200 years of postal service. Postal service, I think, started delivering mail pretty early. And most of the mail, at least in the United States, travels by commercial flights. Like the Postal Service has its own planes, but every single plane that goes anywhere is carrying mail. Did you know that?
I did know that.
How did you know?
Well, because one time back around the turn of the millennium, I got a credit card fraud situation. Again, back to fraud. But they figured out it was a ring of people that were unloading the bags of letters off of planes. It was like at LAX at the baggage handling. And they were taking, people's pre-approved credit card things. And
all right, let's stop talking about the chinks in the armor.
they had an inside asset at the California DMV. It was a mess.
I'll bet. All right, so now we're moving on to Emily Dickinson.
Someone's asked about your pen. We haven't talked about the pen yet.
This is if you
We
go
do this every episode.
This pen is a Tombow Funaisuke. If you look down below this video, there's a list of all the art supplies I use, and you will see a check for this pen, the Tombow Funaisuke pen. You can get it on Amazon, and you should, because it's an awesome pen.
They're awesome.
They are good.
This is a beautiful stamp. Look at that elegance.
I know. It feels Dickinsonian, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it also feels like 1970s, right?
Yeah, it is. It is totally sort of of its period. What year is it? Doesn't say.
Yeah, but I mean, you could so many things, so many choices have 70s vibes, as the youth would say.
I mean, the lettering, the style of illustration.
I mean, look at that 8.
Yeah, the 8 is really nice. I don't think today's post office would do an Emily Dickinson stamp. Do you think?
I'm waiting for someone in the chat to say they don't know who Emily Dickinson is. You don't hear it. It's not a thing. She's not in vogue.
No, I don't think that's true. She's always in vogue.
I don't know. Is she still taught in schools?
Isn't there a TV show about her?
Are you thinking about Jane Austen?
No, there's a TV show about Emily Dickinson.
Oh, really?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, tells you what I know.
They have they have all these rides now at Disneyland about her.
Yeah, this is a very elegant stamp. Very, very elegant. About as elegant as being an American poet. A poetess.
I don't know. I don't think Walt Whitman is elegant.
Grace,
He's awesome, but...
Grace Afridi says the TV show about her was warped.
You mean that was the name of the show, or it was historically inaccurate?
I don't know, yeah. Emily Dickinson. show. People say it's very hard to watch.
You mean it's so thrilling?
Maybe we have to watch it.
But it's very hard to watch, people have said. You said.
Kate Cullors says Emily's home was where she grew up in Concord, Mass.
Oh, very nice.
I was going to say, oof, when you're doing that E, you're going to need a steady hand.
Fortunately, I have two of them.
And a very sturdy pen. When you were picking out what stamps to do, were you afraid of this moment when you would have to do this cursive?
Yeah, never afraid.
Never afraid.
I'm more afraid of doing the perforations are actually the hardest part of this.
Wow, that's a statement.
I know. It's sort of a contour drawing. Interesting.
Yeah.
Contour drawing of her.
I just love the artfulness of the back and arm of her chair. It's so delicate.
Yeah, it's nice.
Just perfectly wrought. Just so nice. Now you made this more green than I would have. I think to my eye it's a brown.
You know, we all know you're colorblind.
That's true, I am.
There, I fixed it.
It is variegated. If you look at it, it is.
Well, it's almost like
not a solid color.
it's like a metal. It's almost like a copper that's got tarnish on it, oxidization. It's the only color on it. It's sort of interesting. Another thing about these postage stamps is the printing technology of the time is a factor. I think now they're able to do such just very different kinds of printing.
I mean, the Ansel Adams stamps that I have, which
Those are
feature
beautiful.
I don't know, I want to say 8 different photographs, are so stunning. They are so stunning.
It's good. All right, Emily's in the bag.
It's been fun.
Bye, Emily.
You didn't tackle that American poet. I wasn't sure were you going to try to.
There's a limit to what I'm capable of doing. We all know who she is. All right, I'm going to focus on the preparations now. Because part of the problem with doing this is you kind of have to suss out what the proportions are going to be as you're doing the perforations. So a lot of times this is the most important part of the drawing. It isn't really. The fact is that the perforations just need to indicate that it's a stamp. Nothing else really matters. Except now I just made it. All right, I was so into doing the perforations that I ignored the fact that it's a rectangle.
It's an interpretive perforation.
Well, it's now a perforation that ran away with the edge of the stamp. All right, so this is interesting.
So Rin said for the perfs, I just did a row of C's and then joined the C's together with a straight line.
Smart. Good
Yeah.
technique.
You could borrow that, you know.
I could seize on that idea.
Oh, could we talk about C's candy?
No,
We haven't had any C's candy in such a long time.
it's true.
Have to wait for birthday month, which is next month.
Yeah, I picked this because I thought it would be relatively easy to draw. The because there's lots of landscapes, and some of them are really so detailed and so many textures in them. And this one felt like it was reasonably graphic, but now I'm realizing there's actually quite a lot to it. It's not.
I feel that way sometimes when you pick out like a jigsaw puzzle and you're looking at the image and you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
And then you start laying it out and you're like, this is a monster.
Yeah. We haven't done a jigsaw puzzle in a while. Don't we usually do them in the summer?
Yeah, but we got rid of our jigsaw table.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that explains it. All right, this one is North Dakota. Have you ever been to North Dakota?
Yeah, I have. So I was just asking, was anyone in the chat from North Dakota? I often say, we see so many different countries, but we don't always acknowledge every state. And I usually feel like we see every state, but I don't think there's anybody from North Dakota today. I feel like they would have been so pleased to see this.
Yeah. I mean, I was, when I was going through all the stamps, there was one kind of campaign or series, what are they called? Series, I guess, that was all the states, but I couldn't find Arizona.
I probably used it.
I couldn't find New York.
You probably used it. I think North Dakota is nice. It doesn't get always much recognition. All right, Deb Peterson was born in Bismarck, so there you go. This one's for you, Deb.
Yeah, I guess this is what North Dakota has in it. This is probably why I've never been there. It's got clouds.
I don't know. This
And
is
wheat.
This is ostensibly 1889.
Is it?
Well, don't you think that that's?
I think it's pretty much what it looks like now, too. I could be wrong. I don't want to cast
Jim Wright is
aspersion.
doing such a fun idea. So he's cutting watercolor paper to postcard size, painting and mailing them.
Oh.
What a fun idea, Jim.
Good one.
I will put our P.O.
Yeah, send us one.
box in the... Oh no, our P.O. box isn't in the description anymore. No wonder nobody ever sends us C's candy.
There was a time when I was, you can buy, we used to be able to buy, in the post office, you could buy stamped postcards,
Yeah.
right? They were just like a blank card that had a stamp in the middle, in the corner. It wasn't even really a stamp, it was printed onto it. And I have them somewhere, I should dig them up. I used to extend the picture. So like draw all the rest of the picture and
Oh, that's fun.
Make a cover like half the postcard.
That's fun.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to let this dry a bit, but this was not as painful as I thought it was going to be. Okay, I'm moving on to, yes, woodchuck.
Look at that cutie.
So this is
It's weirdly similar to the barn.
yeah, this
It's like the
was,
same. Like if you put the barn and the woodchuck right next to each
which
other.
I'm doing.
No, but I'm okay. The references, like it's the same.
You mean in terms of the proportions?
Yeah.
Or? Yeah.
Like if you squint, the barn and the woodchuck have the same relative shape.
Yeah. You're getting your eyes checked soon, right?
You really can't see what I'm talking
I
about.
can sort of. It's brown and it's an object and it's a long shape.
Yeah. Okay.
Try that C thing. C.
Oh yeah, Violet said this looks like Peter Rabbit, which we did on a Draw With Me not long ago. Beatrix Potter.
Well, we drew a woodchuck at one point. No, a groundhog.
Yeah, we didn't. We have not done. This would be an inaugural woodchuck.
So this is a whole series of just animals. There were like 30 of them. Yeah, I don't like the C thing. It looks weird now to me. Sorry. He's cute. Look at those little hands
Are they
and a little belly.
little paws or little hands? Speaking of, we don't have a lot of pugs snoring. Only one pug. Oh, hi, baby. Wonder what year this is from.
Well, it's 22 cents. So North Dakota was 1889. So that means probably the stamp came out in 1989, which means
Woodchuck.
it's part of a series, though.
Cent stamp. It was issued in 1987.
Yeah.
North American Wildlife Woodchuck.
That was part of the series. The
Yeah.
series was on North American wildlife.
Wildlife.
How much would a woodchuck chuck if a wood? How many stamps would a woodcut? Never mind.
Jen said she just read that woodchucks and groundhogs are the same. How can that be?
Woodchucks and groundhogs are the same, really?
Chucks and groundhogs, the same animal. Wow, they are both common names for the rodent Marmota monax, a member of the squirrel family. The term woodchuck is thought to have originated from the Algonquin name for the animal. Wow.
So there's nothing to do with chucking
There's no
wood.
difference. They're the same animal.
The groundhog and the woodchuck.
Interesting.
So should I write groundhog or should I write woodchuck?
Cindy said the artist for this woodchuck stamp was Chuck Ripper, part of a 20 stamp series. Interesting story about that she read about him.
So what movie featured a person who paints wildlife for postage stamps?
Fargo.
Let people have a chance, all right?
Oh, you were asking me.
I was asking you, but,
Oh,
but
you didn't think I would get it?
I didn't think you'd have the answer that quickly.
Oh,
So.
for sure. One of the all-time greatest movies ever made.
Well, actually, I think he wasn't wood. It wasn't.
There were ducks.
It was specifically apparently there's a duck stamp every year. Wasn't that the idea? There was every year they put out a stamp for a duck.
Sunsurfer says Gone with the Wind. Did they paint stamps too?
No,
Oh.
but there was
They
there were stamps of Gone with the Wind. We looked at it before. There were.
That's right, there were.
But this is a character in the movie who paints postage stamps
Yeah.
for a living.
Carlos is recommending you use a Q-tip to sop off some of your wet.
Thank you, Carlos. Isn't Fargo in North Dakota?
No. Is it?
Fargo, North Dakota, isn't it? Where is it? Fargo, North Dakota. Come on. You don't know that?
I mean,
I'm not even American and I know that.
yeah, I mean, I now that you say it, it rings true, but... Oh, Cindy said yes, ND. All right. Woof. Wow. Tying things together on the fly
All right, I'm going to let that dry and come back to it.
because you don't have a Q-tip.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? You've got about 8 minutes,
Okay.
unless you want to go long because of our technical difficulty.
Well, we're on number 7.
How many are you thinking?
I have 10, but I don't know that I'll get to all of them.
Do you want to show the options and let?
No, I want to do the next one, which is Harry S. Truman.
Oh, no beard.
So, a lot of ex-presidents.
Another 8 cents. So this was Emily Dickinson was 8 cents too.
Yeah. Well, I think Harry Truman died in the 70s. Do you know what the S stood for?
I don't.
Nothing.
Year.
He didn't have a middle name. He just had a middle initial.
Truman. So he died December 26, 1972.
There you go. So, oops, Harry S. Truman. What did Harry S. Truman do that nobody...
So it was issued. This stamp was issued in 1984.
That no president before or since has done, and we don't want any president to do.
I don't know.
Drop the atom bomb.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's probably the most significant thing. I mean, did you ever read that book about him? It was actually a really great book. The Truman Memoir.
No, I have not.
It was David McCullough, I think, wrote it. What state was Harry Truman from?
I don't actually know.
North Dakota? No.
That would be weird.
No, it wasn't North Dakota. He's from, I think, Kansas. Managed a dry goods store. What was his job before he was president?
I don't know.
Vice president.
You know a lot about this guy.
I read David McCullough's book about it. I mean, he's also a fairly major character.
His jacket has a nice texture.
Yeah, this is the style of postage stamp that kind of went out of, I don't know, you don't see anymore, which is the engraved kind. This is like a faux engraving, but, you know, if you look at stamps from, say, the
A lot of
first half of
stippling.
the century, yeah, it was like currency, you know. I guess so you couldn't forge them too, but. All right, there's Harry. I'm just wild about Harry.
You gonna do one more? Or are you gonna?
Let's see. Yeah. So this one is nice, and it'll help me to deal with the fact that I have made a mistake, which is my North Dakota stamp. In fact, I'm gonna stick it in so that it joins this one. Oh, that's a genius. This will appear to be an actual intentional mistake, which is I'm gonna make this stamp seem like it's part of a series.
America's wool. It's just not a stamp that would be issued in the present day.
No, probably not. Well, there's a lot of knitters out there. This would probably be I bet you there's a big overlap of knitters and stamp buyers.
You think?
I bet you. And draw with me,
Don't you think
watchers.
stamp buyers are probably men? Knitters are probably women.
No.
I'm not saying that's not without exceptions, but
No, I don't think that's true. Who do men write letters to?
they don't. As evidenced by the bag of stamps we have, they buy them but don't use them.
True, but I think women are probably much more likely to write a letter, send a card.
There is a like on Etsy, a lot of people who are sending wedding invitations or something like that will buy cool old stamps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's sort of a thing.
So maybe I could sell these on Etsy. Then we could retire.
be nice.
Move to Arizona.
Play tennis.
Yeah, and raise pugs.
Extreme heat.
This is a cute
Look,
little
this
lamb.
is a Sixth Sense, another movie. A great movie.
That's funny. Look at how cute this lamb is.
So cute. Wooly bully!
We haven't had lamb chops for a while.
Oh, Danny.
See, this does match that North Dakota stamp quite nicely. It's got a similar theme, similar palette. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your postman is? I'm just going to put a little bit of color on Harry Truman because he looks a little naked. Nobody likes to see a naked Harry Truman. All right, these colors are a little anemic. I'm so used to now the tempera and those acrylic markers that when I do watercolor, it just looks a little flat to me.
Well, because you haven't been practicing, you're not getting your,
I'm also rushing.
full pop of color.
Yeah, I'm rushing, so my colors are a little flat. But, it's okay. That wasn't bad.
Sort of a cute page.
Sort of cute, yeah.
I really love Jim's idea. I think that is super fun. And he's cutting up watercolor paper, but you can buy pretty awesome Hanamula watercolor postcards that they've already been correctly sized. The paper's very nice, and they've got the grid lines on the back where you can put the address. It's nice.
I think sending a watercolor postcard that you painted, what could be nicer?
That's pretty great. So Laura says she had to cancel her cataract surgery, and her best friend painted her a watercolor lamb card.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Cancel it. That's too bad.
Yeah. Hopefully it's just a reschedule.
Stamps of the USA, I should say. Now, my stamp collection had stamps from all over the world, which is sort of interesting because you learn about other countries.
Yeah.
In fact, let me just grab something here. This is a book that I wrote called Me Time. Just a little book, but it was about doing things extra, waking up an hour early to do things that I'd normally had forgotten to do or didn't do and I hadn't appreciated for a while, to get some appreciation. And one of the pages in here, one of the sections, is this, where I painted my stamp collection. Yeah, so
Wow.
so I drew these are all Pakistani stamps because I grew up in Pakistan, and here's one about malaria and this painting of a mosquito, and yes, this is one about the commemoration of Kemal Ataturk, and this is about Qaid-e-Azam. So, and this is about there's a famous poet. So I just spent time with my collection and just looked them over and read about them and just appreciated them. So that's what this book was. Not the whole book was about postage stamps. It was about other things like singing in my garden or walking down my street, or hanging out with our turtle. So anyway, I just thought of that.
There you have it.
There you have it, postage stamps. Okay, we're done. We're done. Whew. I feel like I've been holding my breath for an hour.
Yeah, since the buffering issue.
Yeah. It was still relaxing in its way. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time drawing postage stamps. Interesting thing to do. And if you don't have postage stamps around, you can always find them on the internet.
Etsy.
Or you can also find pictures of them. So,
Yes, true.
so anyway, are we done?
Yeah.
We're done.
Done. Donezo.
All right, Jenny, you're really low for some reason.
Maybe I'm slouching down in my chair.
Sit up straight. So, thank you for hanging out with us today, painting postage stamps. And if you'd like to become a member, you can draw other things with us. Yesterday we did some urban sketching, and we drew Grace Afridi's house. We would love to see your postage stamps, so please share them with us. And you can do that by putting them on Facebook or on Instagram and tagging them #SBS Draw With Me. SBS stands for Sketchbook School. I write an essay every week, and they come out every Friday, and you can get them for free too by just going to dannysessays.com and signing up for it. Please do, and then I will write, and you can also write back to me after you read them, to complain, to comment.
Don't write to complain.
Don't write to
If
complain.
you feel like doing it,
If
just
you're going to complain, don't sign up.
go do something else. Yeah.
And Start Your Sketchbook Journal is my new course that started
Beginning
recently.
of the summer.
Yeah, and people are having a lot of fun
So
doing
fun.
it. So please check that out. You can find it at sketchbookschool.com. Subscribe to this channel, and then you will know when we meet again. JJ, anything else?
We'll see you next Thursday.
We will see you next Thursday.
Oh, you're going to be away next Thursday.
No, I'm not. I'm leaving. I think. So I'm going to Seattle to Sketchy Fest. Is that what it's called?
Sketcherfest.
Sketcherfest. Hope it's not sketchy. I'm going to Sketcherfest, but my flight leaves in the afternoon, so I think we can still do Draw With Me.
We're going to try.
We're going to try. And so there's that. And so we'll see you then.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.